the southwestern part of Iceland, not far from the capital of Reykjavik, there have been thousands of earthquakes in recent weeks, and officials believe a volcanic eruption could take place at any moment. The question is, where will it happen? This isn't occurring at a large volcano whose cones started rumbling and smoking. Scientists say there's a stream of magma that stretches between southwest Iceland and the Atlantic Ocean, and officials warn there are signs that magma is moving closer to the surface. If it breaches the surface, the location, which at this point isn't known, will determine how dangerous and destructive the eruption will be. Officials have evacuated thousands of people from the southwestern Icelandic town of Grindavik, which is located right above the magma. It's possible that nothing major will happen here, and it's possible there will be an eruption at sea under the Atlantic. Scientists say it's very difficult to forecast the extent of volcanic activity. Hi, I'm Carl Azus for The World from A to Z. Thank you for giving us 9 minutes of your day. When it comes to the rivalry between China and the United States, there are a slew of issues the two nations disagree on. The status of Taiwan, an island off China's eastern coast, illegal drugs and the transfer of fentanyl from China to the US, limits on trade, particularly when it comes to technology, a Chinese spy balloon in American airspace that the US shot down in February, China's influence in the Western Pacific, the nation wants to expand that, the US wants to limit it, and as you'll see in a moment, US accusations that China is threatening people in America who criticize China's communist government, though China says it, quote, always respects the sovereignty of other countries. US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are meeting in person today. That's happening in California. One main focus is expected to be on improving communications between their countries' militaries, but at this tense time between them, as their nations compete in both physical and virtual environments, experts say the stakes are high.
I feel really afraid.
They use hateful words or threatening words.
They will make life very uncomfortable for those who speak ill of China.
They are here on American soil, thousands of miles from Beijing, but still being hounded and harassed by the Chinese government.
I was instantly flooded with messages.
Her name is Jiayang Fan, a writer for The New Yorker. She's been targeted with a wave of online harassment since she covered pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong 4 years ago. More than 12,000 tweets calling her a traitor.
I was caught so off guard, and I wasn't sure if it was a coordinated effort.
It is a coordinated effort of fake and anonymous accounts, and it's called Spamiflage. But it's only now been revealed that the vast disinformation campaign is tied to the Chinese government. A CNN review of court documents, social media reports, and interviews with victims reveals a massive, relentless campaign of intimidation by the Chinese government, targeting people on US soil.
They told me they will kill me if I don't delete my YouTube.
Zhao Jinchu posts pro-democracy YouTube videos criticizing the Chinese government from his office here at this church in Virginia. To hit back, the Chinese trolls post thousands of messages attacking him.
They cover people's eyes, so the Chinese people cannot see the reality.
Some of the people behind Spamiflage are these Chinese police officers, according to the US Department of Justice. The DOJ charged 34 Chinese police officers for using social media accounts to threaten, harass, and intimidate specific victims in the United States. The indictment is full of pictures allegedly taken from inside the special trolling unit, showing laptops, phones, and other equipment used as part of the operation. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. said the DOJ's allegations are politically motivated and have no factual evidence or legal basis. The U.S. State Department has warned that the Chinese government is spending billions of dollars annually on foreign information manipulation efforts. And if it goes unchecked, it will reshape the global information landscape.
A Communist Party's bloodstream is propaganda, repeating it over and over again and trying to get everyone to repeat that same point of view and reject alternatives. That's in the DNA of Communist parties.
On this date in world history.
The United States' first constitution was completed on this date in 1777. It was called the Articles of Confederation, and while it wouldn't be ratified by all 13 states until 3.5 years later, the Articles of Confederation established America's first national government. On November 15, 2012, Xi Jinping, whom you heard about earlier, became the General Secretary of China's Communist Party. He'd been the nation's vice president since 2008 and would become president in 2013. And on this date in 2022, the global population reached a new milestone: 8 billion people, according to the United Nations. The world body listed a number of challenges facing humanity, but said the fact that life expectancy overall was up and that infant mortality was down were contributing factors to population growth.
A word of knowledge. Who laid the cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol? George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison. When construction began on the Capitol building in 1793, President George Washington laid its cornerstone.
Tens of thousands gathered against that backdrop yesterday in what was called the March for Israel. One of its goals was to show support for the Middle Eastern country in its war against Hamas, the militant group that launched a terrorist attack against Israel last month. Demonstrators also called for the release of hostages that Hamas took in the attack and to speak out against anti-Semitic attacks, hostility toward Jews. That, along with incidents targeting Muslims in the United States, are examples of the far-reaching effects this conflict has had around the world. Over the past 5 weeks, there have also been massive demonstrations in support of Hamas and the Palestinian people it governs in Gaza. Officials there say more than 11,000 people have been killed in the conflict. Israeli officials say an estimated 1,200 people were killed in Israel, not including more than 200 who were taken hostage.
A sea of Israeli flags, Jewish people, and supporters gathering in the nation's capital Tuesday.
We will stand on the National Mall in the most visible place in this country and say America will not stand for this.
October 7th was a crime against the Jewish state, indeed against humanity.
Israel will cease their counteroffensive when Hamas ceases to be a threat to the Jewish state.
As Israel takes its retaliatory fight against Hamas into a second month, the toll on Gaza's civilian infrastructure has been devastating. Some march attendees worry the graphic images of war could shake President Joe Biden's pro-Israel stance.
There's a lot of pressure for him to want to be moved in another direction, but so far he's supporting Israel. That's the most important thing.
Still others have a deeply personal reason for attending the march. Also in the spotlight at the rally, rising anti-Semitism, especially on some college campuses.
Every university leader in this country has a responsibility to ensure that no student is intimidated or harassed on campus because of their religion.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The Granite State is our first stop on today's World of Viewers tour. Mrs. Medore's class, we see you, and it's great to have you watching from Spalding High School. It's in the city of Rochester, New Hampshire. And in the Buckeye State of Ohio, big hello to Mrs. Rosso's class today. Copley Fairlawn Middle School is in Copley, and awesome like Fridays. On the list of things you don't expect to see and probably don't want to see walking around your house, this has got to be near the top. After an apparent act of sabotage, a circus lion got loose not far from the Italian capital of Rome. After several hours, officials were able to track it down, sedate it, and return the animal safely on Saturday. They believe it got free after a lock on its enclosure was intentionally broken. Police are investigating. No one, including the lion, was hurt. And that's the main and humane thing. The king of the concrete jungle wasn't feline like there was claws for any roarable displays of pride. Maybe he just pounced at the chance to get away from the circus of life, thinking Hakuna Matata, I'm free to go hunt for Timon and Pumbaa. I'm Carl Azus. This is The World from A to Z, and I ain't lying when I say you mean the world to me.